Right, you are live.
All right. Good evening, Weldon City Schools District, to my fellow board members, our interim superintendent, Ms. Dameron, Attorney Ramey, and all that may be viewing our meeting tonight. We're glad to have you in our special call meeting. Ms. Lee as well, our clerk to our board. At this time, we came into open session and we adjourned to closed session, and now we are reconvening our open session. And at this time, board members, we do have our open session agenda, selection of auditor, update on senior trip, update on our pre-K building renovation quotes, update on Weldon City School buildings deep cleaning proposal. And we also need to add 2 more items to our open session agenda tonight for approval. And they would be number 5, personnel recommendations from closed session, as they have been submitted by interim superintendent. And item number 6, interim superintendent contract. We need to add those 2 things to our open session agenda for tonight. That is our agenda. Do we have any other questions or comments or anything that may need to be added to our agenda? And of course, under 2, I guess point 1, that would be an action item. And 5 and 6, 2.5 and 2.6 are action items as well.
Reverend Sykes?
Yes.
I believe Ms. Dameron also had a position, an item about a new position she wanted to add to open session. Could we get clarity on what that item would be?
Yes, the behavior support facilitator position.
So that would not be a specific personnel item from closed session, but it's just the recommended creation of a new position.
Yes.
Okay. Let me go back and do my numbers again then. What about the behavior support and what about the increase in the substitute pay?
That would be an item I want you all to approve too. You gave me a range and we were told to go back and develop a scale and the process how we're going to distribute that. So you got a document to explain that as well tonight that needs approval.
Okay, well, let me renumber then. Can we make the behavior support position number 5?
Yes, that's fine.
And that is action.
Yes.
And the increase, 6 would be the increase in substitute pay.
Yes.
Pay rate. And that is an action item.
Yeah.
Trying to get all of the action items together if I can. So we make number 5 behavior support position. That's for action. Number 6, increase in substitute pay rate. That's action. Number 7, personnel recommendations for closed session. And number 8, 2.8 would be interim superintendent contract. Do I need to restate?
Yeah.
Everybody have it?
Yes.
All right. So those are the additions for our open session agenda. Motion would be in order to approve our agenda as we have amended it.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve our agenda as it has been amended.
Second.
Motion has been moved by Mrs. Donna Harrison and seconded by Ms. Tiffany Hale that we approve our special call meeting open session agenda as it has been amended. You've heard that motion. Is there any further discussion or unreadiness? Hearing none, all in favor of that motion, would you let it be known by your voice vote? O.D. Sykes, aye. Ms. Byrd-Robinson? Ms. Byrd-Robinson?
I'm
Ms.
sorry.
K. Robinson?
I for Byrd-Robinson.
Okay. Ms. K. Robinson?
Aye.
Ms. Hale?
Aye.
Mrs. Jenkins?
Aye.
Mrs. Harrison?
Yes.
And Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Thank you all so much. Let the record reflect unanimous approval of our agenda tonight as it has been amended. First on our agenda, 2.1, would be auditor selected. We talked in length last time about our auditor. Is there any further discussion on who we want to go with as far as the auditor is concerned? We tabled that and we said we would take that up tonight. And the two that were before us are RH CPA, PLLC auditing firm, and Anderson, Smith and White PLLC auditing firm. That was tabled the last time because we got the information and it was a whole lot of information to absorb at one time. So we tabled it until tonight's meeting, but we said we would take action. Any further discussion? Anything that anybody want to point out since our last meeting that we read?
Mr. Chair, I would like to point
Yeah.
out that the RH CPAs will be giving us 320 hours of service, and the company that we have right now would only be giving us 260 hours of service. Also, the new company would give us a $10,000 discount. And due to the information that we received during closed session, I do believe that we need to support a new auditor in our district to make sure that we follow all local government procedures and make sure that we are meeting our guidelines and report guidelines.
Okay. Any other comment or discussion? As I stated last time, just good auditing practices that every so often you change auditors. And it's not that anybody, has done anything. It's just good to have, somebody else saying good things about our school district as well. That's just my personal opinion.
Absolutely.
Any further discussion? All right, hearing none, then a motion is in order that we go with one or the other. We put it to a vote and the vote will vote it up or down, whichever one.
I move that we sign a contract with the RH CPAs accounting, tax, and advisory company.
Second.
Motion has been moved and properly second that we move forward with the auditors of RH, CPA, PLLC, accounting agency or accounting firm. You've heard that motion that has been seconded. Is there any further discussion on readiness? Hearing none, all in favor, would you let it be known by your voice vote? O.D. Sykes, aye. Mr. Williams?
No.
Ms. Byrd-Robinson?
Aye.
Ms. Harrison,
No.
Ms. Hale,
Aye.
Ms. Jenkins,
No.
and Ms. K. Robinson.
Aye.
All right. Let the record reflect that we will enter contract with said auditors, vote 4-3. All right. Thank you so much.
Reverend Sykes,
Yes.
if I could interrupt you,
Yes.
and if I could request that we add a closed session at the end of this agenda. There is a second personnel issue I need to share with you. I've got some information on.
Reverend Sykes, I'll just chime in there. There was one item that Ms. Dammer and I had discussed that we just forgot to bring up in closed session. So before the board votes on personnel matters coming from closed session, if we could have a brief second closed session to discuss that one matter, that would be great. And although you've already approved the agenda, you can still amend it. It would just require a 2/3 vote at this time to add that second closed session.
Okay, so
I move that we add a second closed session to the agenda.
And for the same reasons stated in the earlier closed session motion.
As my same reasons as stated in the first one.
Second.
okay. Motion had been moved and properly second that we add a closed session. And if I can say that we will do that before the personnel recommendation, so we get the 2.4, I guess to say, update on the Weldon City Schools buildings deep cleaning proposal. And we'll add our closed session there before we vote on any personnel recommendations as we have been advised by our legal counsel.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
So we
Got a
need
vote.
a vote on the motion.
Now, yep, get ready to get to it. Thank y'all so much. I was making my little notes. It has been motioned by Ms. K. Robinson and seconded by, I believe that was Ms. Hale, correct?
Byrd-Robinson.
Ms. Byrd-Robinson. Okay, I apologize. Ms. Byrd-Robinson, that we would enter into a second closed session before we vote on personnel recommendation. You heard that motion. Any further discussion? Unreadiness. Hearing none, all in favor of that motion, would you let it be known by your voice vote? O.D. Sykes, aye. Ms. Jenkins,
Aye.
Mrs. Harrison,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Ms. Byrd-Robinson,
Aye.
Ms. K. Robinson,
Aye.
and Ms. Hale.
Aye.
Let the record reflect unanimous approval to go into a second closed session. Thank you so much, board members. All right, moving on to 2.2, update on senior trip. Ms. Dameron.
Yes, Reverend Sykes, Ms. Tanya Byrd-Robinson, and members of the board. If you recall at our last board meeting, you had previously approved for the senior trip to be in Florida. And there was some concern raised at the last meeting about seniors going to Florida. It is an overnight trip. I think, matter of fact, it might be 3 days. And the COVID issues that they're now experiencing in Florida. And I know that this trip is scheduled for later on in the year. But I think you all made a decision last month that you were not interested in having students travel to Florida. And so you asked that the principals go back and meet with their student presidents or student council and come up with a plan B. Well, Mr. Pullen pulled that meeting together, and according to him, the students do not wish to have a plan B. So I advised Mr. Pullen, I said, now, they're not supporting you all going to Florida. So if they don't have a plan B, does this mean that they are not going to have a senior trip? They did not want to entertain some other option other than Florida, according to Mr. Pullen.
All right. Board members, any discussion with what we have heard from Ms. Dameron?
So the students are saying they still want to go to Florida, Ms. Denver.
Yes, ma'am.
There, okay.
Yes, ma'am. They don't want to consider a plan B. They want to go to Florida. And
Okay.
I told Mr. Pullen, I said, well, the board is saying they were not comfortable in allowing students to go to Florida with the pandemic, COVID numbers rising like they are, particularly in the Florida area, and would want you all to come up with another plan of what you would like to do. Well, he brought the students together, and Mr. Richardson was a part of this discussion, and I'm assuming the president or SBA president from the senior class from both sites, and the response that I got back was want to discuss a plan B.
All right. Any further discussion? And this is for information only. So I really don't know what to what to say.
I don't either.
I mean, and I only say that because board members, you all know, just like I know, our students, our staff, everybody's been traveling, and everybody goes where they, want to go or where they are comfortable going. And I don't look at this in any different respect. If the child's parents are not comfortable with the child going, that child ain't gonna go. But that's just me, personally. So, if board members, y'all say you want to go with that, or if you want the principals to work out some plan B that would be a compromise. Ms. Dameron gave us that for updated information.
Yes.
Ms. Dameron,
Just as a caveat, if they were going to be seeking refunds, that process needed to start today.
Right.
First, to begin to get refunds back.
Right.
but did they request refunds, Ms. Dameron?
In Mr. Pullen's email, he says, he said it was never presented as it was Florida. It was Florida is off the table. Give us other ideas. That was met with a resounding no. So we will not be planning an alternate for a senior trip at this time. I have already begun the process about an hour ago. This was on Wednesday. And calling a representative from the company to find out what to do. She said to put in writing on letterhead. So I will do that and move forward from there. So I'm assuming Mr. Pullen has moved forward as of the day to seek the refund of any monies that have already been paid.
So there will not be a senior trip.
Not in Florida.
Okay. Okay.
Because
Because our numbers have risen over the last couple of months, and I know Florida's have tripled in the last couple of months. And
so if they come up with something else, then I'll bring it for approval at that time.
yes, ma'am. Sounds good.
All right. Thank you so much. No other question or comment on that. We'll go to 2.3 update on the pre-K building renovation quote. And Ms. Dameron has some good news for us with that. I've been feasting on that all evening.
If you look at the information I provided for you in your packet, it's good news. I guess it is bad news. The information from the Oakley Collier company that came out with me to look at the building has given you a very detailed itemization of what it would cost to renovate that building. I think the plan that they have envisioned is it's even a layout of the building, to create a professional development space, create office spaces, create board meeting area. We're looking at moving some departments there. Wonderful plan. If you look at the total price of that package, of course, 2 million, I believe, but she's sitting at $2,080,455,000.
Say that again.
$2,080,000 $80,455.
That's it.
That's the total package for all of it. So of course, when I got that, I said, can you go back and break that up into phases that we can look at some possible funding for that? And that is exactly what they did. They gave us a layout of the building. They're calling it Wing 1 and Wing 2. They've got the square footage of each one of those sides. And so if you look at the quote that they've given us for a phase 1 layout, they've got a different price. Hold on. They've broken that 2 million up into 2 different pieces. And phase 1 has a tag price of, and that would be wing 1, which is on the auditorium side of the building. That would be $1,251,962, $1,251,962.50. Now in that, just I want to point out, it is any cost that they perceive we might have, including furniture, fixtures, equipment, any fees for hazardous abatement design, any cost at all. Then when you look at phase 2 of the plans, that phase is the opposite side of the building. The price tag on that would be $828,492.50. And again, they got it broken out of the phases and the prices based on furnishing, the construction contingency, and any cost that you could conceive with this type of renovation. I'm like Reverend Sykes. I got excited about it because I see the vision of what that building would mean for Weldon City Schools. You currently don't have a place for professional development. We don't have a place, if you think about the times that we have had to go to the community college just to provide social distancing. The district is in need of this. Departments to be there. I was thinking more about particularly the curriculum and instruction department as they try to build teacher resource rooms. It would be a wonderful addition to what I think the children and the district and the teachers would need for Weldon City Schools. Now, the company, if you will recall, this is the same company that we said did the advanced manufacturing wing of the community college. I've also found out that there is a facility in Martin County that this company did, and I had mentioned to you all about taking you on a field trip to actually see not only the work, but this company took an old Roses store building and they've turned it in what they call their innovative campus. And I'm hoping that you all will give me a date where I could take you all over there together. We take a look at this building and the work of Oakley Collier before you make any decisions about yes or no. Think about what this would mean. And I just choose to believe that there are fund sources out there that we could get together with our funds or all of our funds from somewhere else and provide this to the community of Weldon City Schools.
Questions or comments?
Reverend Sykes, this is
Yes.
Neil Ramey. If I could just one point of information you're probably already aware, but just to be sure everyone's on the same page. If the board did want to proceed with this type of work on the building, there would be public bidding issues to sort out too. You can't just go hire an architect and hire a contractor. So this is it for information. This is Ms. Dameron's not suggesting you immediately hire this architectural firm. You'd have to do a qualifications-based bid process for the architect and then a bid process for the construction. So bids could come in higher or lower than the
Right.
anticipated expenses, but this is helpful information for the board.
And along those lines, I'm just one thing I was looking at, any abatement fees. I mean, it may or may not be some issues with that. So that may be funds that, could be saved. And also in the contingency areas, I think that's just a net that is put there in case, something is there that they didn't actually factor in. So, that could be some cost savings there. But to your point, Attorney Ramey, this is just a snapshot of, in that respect of what we could be looking at, but bids could be higher or lower.
And
But
also,
personally,
I included her email or letter to me dated January 21st, where it just talked about the scope of the service. She did do just a walkthrough with me that building, and she talked about, these numbers were based on that walkthrough and the information I could provide her and Mr. Turner. So if in fact we did feel like we had the funding and we made those bids, then of course everything would be more finalized to go back through that building again. So just some preliminary numbers.
well, I think a good starting point, and board members, I hope everybody would chime in with what we had talked about during our retreat, as far as what we wanted to see with our pre-K building. We did not want to, relieve ourselves of that property or anything. Is right in the city limits, and what we could do with it. Some of the things that Ms. Dameron has already stated, I think would be to our benefit in our district. Ms. Dameron, personally, seeing this, what it could cost, whether it was with them or somebody else after we went through the bidding process, I think it would be a good thing if you could share with us where we are as far as funding sources right now, with what we have with ESSER, things of that nature. And if you could share that with us during our later board meeting this month, I think that would give us some kind of mindset of saying, actually what we could do if it had to be done in phases and things of that nature. And we're also preparing to do our budget for our incoming school year. So that would give us opportunity to maybe look at something with that as well. That's just my personal feeling. I think if we could see where we are financially as far as with what we could do, that would give us some clear direction of, moving forward.
I sure will.
Other board members, how you all feel about that?
That's fine with me. I'm still looking forward to going on that field trip. We really need to make a date for that.
Yes.
And hopefully we can look at our calendars tonight, Mrs. Harrison, and go ahead on and nail that down. Matter of fact, we're talking about it. There's nothing wrong with us throwing a preliminary date out there now. If you all want to, if you look at your calendars real quick.
Okay.
And preferably an afternoon, because I've got an event I want to share with you. Someplace I'd like to take you while we're out. So an afternoon.
Okay. Does anybody have a date over another date? I know it can't be February the 14th. I got a date with Bay. Is February the 15th that a good day?
Riverside, I'm good. So far I don't have anything.
On the 15th?
Right. Yeah, any of the
Oh.
day, I'm good. So
Okay.
whatever the majority.
Not working.
15 is fine with me.
What did Ms. Jenkins say?
She was messing with me saying, because I'm not working. That's why I said it's okay.
Okay.
The 15th is okay.
Okay. Ms. Hale, Ms. K. Robinson.
Is the 16th fine with you all also? Because I got an appointment in my calendar for 4 o'clock that afternoon.
On the 15th.
On the 15th, yes, I was asking about 16th. I don't have anything for the 16th.
Wednesday.
I'm good the 16th.
I'm
Yeah,
good for
I can make the
16th.
16th work.
I can too.
Ms. Byrd-Robinson, Ms. K. Robinson.
I'm good. Either day.
Ms. Jenkins.
Ms. Byrd-Robinson?
Wednesdays are usually are busy times. It's a busy time for me, but let's go ahead and go with the 16th. I'll try to make that work.
Okay. So look like we got everybody for the 16th, and it'd be that afternoon. I know some of you all are working, so I mean, we talking early afternoon, 1 o'clock, or we saying 2 or 3 o'clock, something like that, Ms. Dameron?
We're talking lunch and then the tour.
What time?
Okay, so how early can we actually do the tour?
We can do lunch as early as 11:30.
Okay,
We can do the tour after that. Or if you prefer to go see the building first and then go to lunch, we can do that too. Either way.
does anybody have a conflict with one time over the other?
I don't.
No, I don't.
No,
Okay,
Later is probably if I'm gonna be able to make it, the later time will probably be better for me. But you're saying go to the building, going to tour the building at 11:30, Miss Dameron?
No, I said if you want it, we're gonna do lunch. We can do lunch as early as 11:30, but we could do lunch like 1:30. And then we could go to the building. My goal is to transport you all in one time together. Social distance if everything works out.
If I'm gonna go, I'll just meet you there.
Okay.
okay. So is everybody good with trying to have lunch at 1:30 and then do the tour? I guess depending upon where you're talking about doing lunch at, Ms. Dameron, we might need to walk that food off anyway.
I think we will.
All right. So we'll look at around that time, 1:30,
Okay.
as far as doing the lunch and then doing the walkthrough afterward.
Okay, so we'll leave in time to get to Williamson to have lunch at 1:30. And then we'll do the tour of the building.
Okay. All right. Good enough. So February 16th.
Got it.
So we would
Got
meet, Reverend Sites, Ms. Demer, where will we meet at? Will we meet
I'll get
here?
all right, Ms. Harrison, I'll get you all the details. Now that I got a date, I'm gonna nail it all down and get you the details.
Okay, great, thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am. We'll probably meet right there at the central office. Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
All right. Good enough. Thank you so much. Any other questions on the quote for the pre-K building? All right. If not, we'll move on to number 4. Ms. Dameron, you have update with the deep cleaning?
Yes, the gentleman, his name is Brian Dixon. He's from Charlotte. He was in the district on Monday. I took him to each one of the buildings, the facilities, and let him look at what he felt was needed for the building. By far, the high school building is probably in the worst condition. And the central office is one of the buildings he also wants to look at in terms of the deep cleaning as well. He is looking at doing this work on the weekend. So I'm gonna have a proposal to you for this work of all of our buildings, including our deck. We went out there as well. Mr. Pullen felt confident that he could get permission for us to do his wing of that building. And so he's gonna provide me the actual quote for the services when we meet at our February board meeting. So he has come to look at all of our facilities and look at what it will take. I think there's more carpet at the high school than it is any place else. And the tile, the biggest condition is there's layers of wax on top of wax, and it would be some stripping that need to be done to the floors.
Okay.
Mhm.
Any questions on that, board members?
I'd just like to add, Ms. Demer, you're talking about the carpet at the high school. Also, that carpet at the elementary building and the principal's office, because
Yeah.
that roof are leaking so bad, and that carpet in both of those offices is really nasty. And I know they shampoo it, but that's not really getting it up. I was wondering if there any way you all can get that taken up, get that carpet in those principal office taken up.
And
as
that's
well.
one of the discussions that I had with Mr. Mr. Dillon was, I didn't know whether it could even be cleaned, both at the high school office and at the elementary school.
Right.
But if it had not, I had already mentioned to Mr. Turner, then they would be needed to be the two projects that need to be taken on as soon as possible of replacing that carpet with tile.
Yes,
Mhm.
because that roof leaks so bad at the elementary until we can get that done.
Right.
I
And
feel that.
I've talked to him about that, Ms. Harrison, and the members of the board to see where he had that in capital outlay projects. Right now, it's not in a capital outlay plan. So going into this next budget season, maybe we can have a layout if the roofs, because he's got I looked at the 5-year report and it gives the ages of the roof. So we need to develop a plan of systematically going through the district and replacing those roofs of those buildings.
Yes.
Because I understand that Mr. Hunter even has trash cans out there catching water when it rains.
Oh, yes, he does.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So that one will probably one of the first ones. So I've told Mr. Turner that I want to sit down and let's plan some major projects like that. And you won't be able to do all of them in 1 year, but of course, capital outlay projects, you're supposed to plan them year to year. And then I'm buying any major, you gotta start somewhere. And so I think that would be the place for us to start as we look at our planning for next year.
I agree.
Well, Ms. Dameron, let me share this real quick. I know our ADM in Weldon City Schools is not as large as other districts, but I will say this, as we prepare to budget for this year, you with us, we need to drive the point with capital outlay when we submit our budget to our county commissioners. With everything that has been said tonight, we really have to drive the point with capital outlay, make sure that we get our buildings up to par.
Mhm. I agree, 100%. Mhm.
All right. Any other comments or questions on the deep cleaning proposal? Ms. Dameron says she will bring a final proposal, but she just giving us an update. They have done the walkthroughs and she'll have a final proposal at our February 17th board meeting.
Okay.
All right. If nothing else, we're at the point that we need to recess to close session. So we'll entertain a motion. Attorney Ramey, we need to entertain a motion that we enter into closed session.
Correct. Just for the reasons previously stated for the prior closed session.
Okay. Is there a motion?
So moved.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion has been moved and properly seconded. Motion by Ms. K. Robinson and seconded by Ms. Jenkins that we return to closed session pursuant to the general statute that was stated earlier when we entered into closed session. And we're going back into closed session again for those same reasons. Any further discussion on readiness on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor, let it be known by your voice vote. Ms. Jenkins?
Aye.
Ms. Harrison?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Byrd-Robinson?
Aye.
Ms. K. Robinson?
Aye.
Ms. Hale?
Aye.
And O.D. Sykes, aye. Let the record reflect unanimous approval of the motion to recess to close session. Thank you all so much. We'll use the same closed session link that we have, and we'll be back to open session momentarily.